God. Is this who he's talking about?
Alright, besties. We are back with another Catfish video. Someone said months ago that every time I tell you how many pages of notes I have, that's how you know how messy this episode is about to be. I have 10 pages of notes.
Damn!
That's about the same number of pages of notes that I had for the Married at First Sight Australia video. And that video was over an hour. I don't know if this video is going to be over an hour, but that's how many pages of notes I have, okay? Let's get into this absolute mess that one of you recently recommended that I cover because you told me it's another IMVU episode. We all know those are messy. And this one has Kamie. So let's get into it. It is season 9, episode 6, LeAndre and Russia. Yes, Russia. Let's get into it, y'all. Thankfully, we are back with Kamie, and she is looking fine as hell this episode, but what the hell else is new? Also, in the last video, one of you recommended that I get like a plug cover for here until my filming room is set up and I can fully film Catfish videos in there. I found a way to film the Married at First Sight Australia videos, but Catfish videos doesn't quite work with the vibe in that room yet. But I'm thinking about it. What do you think the cover should be? Let me know. Anyways, like I said, it's an IMVU episode, and you know it's about to get real messy when the big feet people are involved. So we start off with an email from LeAndre. He's a 32-year-old single dad. He is an Uber driver, and he lives in Odenton, Maryland. I think I said that right. If not, sue me. Don't actually. That was a joke, okay? But about 4 years ago, he met Russia on IMVU. She is 26 years old, and she lives in Tennessee. They met after Russia hired, quote-unquote, hired LeAndre in her IMVU salon, and he began cutting hair there.
Everybody's so creative.
I'm reserving my judgments, okay? I will judge later on, I promise you. But he said that he quickly began talking to Russia every day when he clocked into his shift at the IMVU salon, and they just got on from there. Talking to her every day quickly became the highlight of his day. They eventually exchanged numbers and pictures, and they then became a couple on IMVU and in real life.
To become a couple on IMVU and in real life.
They quickly exchanged I love yous, and they made plans to meet up in person, but of course that never happened because we're here with Catfish. You're probably expecting the typical Catfish excuses. However,
What?
things are a little bit different here because Russia then straight up ghosted him for 2 years. 2 years, y'all.
We listen and we judge.
When she came back, she said that she was dealing with the passing of several family members.
Be nice. I'm finding it.
Reserving judgment for right now. In my opinion, LeAndre was far too trusting and understanding of this excuse for her disappearance, and he just decided to let her slide back in.
What the fuck?
Where she was at before. Okay, they picked up exactly where they had left off. They eventually began talking about their future. They actually got married on IMVU and eventually made plans to get married in real life.
Get somebody else to do it.
Then, shockingly, surprisingly, who would ever guessed it, Russia ghosted him again. Yeah, yes she did. LeAndre says that Russia recently reached back out and he wants Catfish's help to connect them in real life. I feel like this is getting me because I cannot imagine a black couple sitting down, looking at their baby and being like, oh yes, Russia. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, it's just my brain cannot compute that thought. I don't understand it, but Kamie says that the story quite literally writes itself. The tale is as old as Catfish time, if you will.
She's not who she says she is, obviously. Duh, her name's not even Russia.
And I'm most of the time inclined to agree with our girl, but I agree with her specifically on this. She says that this person is clearly not who she says she is, and her name isn't Russia. Be serious. But they hop on a call with LeAndre, and he is actually in Florida at the time to celebrate his son's birthday. So they agree to head down there to meet him, and then they hop off the call. Neve and Kamie go down to Florida, which you already know, if Florida's involved, it's about to be some mess. Mess. But they meet all of LeAndre's family, where his son says that he's actually seen them on TV.
You did?
What were we doing?
You guys were talking.
That's basically all we do.
And his son it's just all so cute. His son is adorable. He is such a sweet little boy. It's weird to me because when they start to get into the tea a little bit, they talk about it with his family, including his very young son.
Side eye.
But this is when we found out that Russia has actually spoken to his family on the phone numerous times, and she actually calls LeAndre's mom, Mom.
You don't find that suspicious?
It's definitely something. So Neve and Kamie then politely dismiss his family and his son so they can get into the real tea of it all. And I appreciate this because I don't think that any of this should really be discussed in front of the son anyways. It should have been like, oh, hi, how are you? Talk a little bit and then send him out.
See you later.
See you later.
See y'all later for my favorite TV show.
LeAndre's son is so sweet and so adorable and so well-mannered. So we then find out that LeAndre's son's mother was actually his last relationship. She actually unfortunately passed away. LeAndre says that Russia was there for him throughout a lot of this grieving process, so that's why she means so much to him, and I feel like this now makes a little bit more sense why he is so willing to accept being ghosted year after year after year after year if she was there for him at arguably a very pivotal point in his life, and arguably his son's life as well. LeAndre says that playing IMVU was a way to escape from everything that was going on in his life, and it gave him hope and joy to keep going. Honestly, even though I didn't voice a lot of my judgments out loud, I did have them in my head, and I feel bad for judging him about his IMVU usage. Because as far as I know, that's just a website where adults either groom children or they get freaky with other adults. That's all I know it to be.
Why you pouring me? I'm right.
That godforsaken website. But now thinking about it, there are a lot worse things that he could have been doing while he was grieving. And I would argue that this IMVU usage is one of the safer options if we don't think about the fact that his son was involved in the situation and he didn't really know who he was talking to, and he still doesn't really know who he's talking to, but we move on. We move. He and Russia would play together every single day on IMVU, and their text messages quickly turned into long phone calls. He says that he was open and honest about the death of his ex, and due to Russia's supportive nature, he fell head over heels in love with her. Russia claims to be a model, which is always a huge red flag on this show, like always, 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 always. It's like someone saying that they are Neve's personal trainer.
You stupid.
If you know, you know. But then Russia has also told LeAndre that she's a music artist and she's also in cosmetology school. So it's like, girl, how exactly are you making your money? How are you supporting yourself? LeAndre then tells us that he knows that Russia has social media profiles, but she never gave him her handles because she said that he doesn't need them.
When I would ask her, she would say, well, you don't really need my social media because we talk on the phone, we have IMVU.
Girl, be so serious. If that is your man, y'all are supposedly locked in, you're married virtually, and you want to get married in real life, then why are you hesitant to give him your socials? Unless you're hiding something pretty major, something pretty significant.
I know something you don't.
Russia also refused to FaceTime him because she said she doesn't want someone all up in her business.
I tried to get like a FaceTime. It's like, well, I just don't want anybody in my business.
If that's your man, is he not your business? Should he not be all up in your business? I'm confused. What are you talking about? But after repeatedly refusing to video call, she ghosted LeAndre for 2 years. They were talking for a year before she disappeared. Poof. Vanished. That was so dramatic, unnecessarily, but we move. Kamie points out exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm sure we're all thinking right now. It's very strange, very suspicious, if you will, that she was there. She supported LeAndre through all of his grief, through the death of his child's mother, supported him through that very serious grief. And now when she pops back up, she reveals that she was gone because she was also dealing with some kind of super serious, super heavy grief.
What did she say?
She said she had a lot of deaths in her family.
That's just strange.
And to me, in this moment, it is giving manipulation. Granted, we don't know her side of the story. We don't even know if it is a her. But it very much seems like she was intentionally tugging at his heartstrings and the soft part in his heart that he has for her, but also because of the death of the mother of his child. She knew that this would be one of the only, if not the only way that she would be accepted back with open arms without any real questioning, without any real type of pressure from LeAndre. LeAndre says that after she came back, they got a lot closer, so he just completely overlooked her disappearance and all the things that had to do with that. He also doesn't mention that he was dating in the time that she was gone. He doesn't mention trying to find her in the time that she was gone. So I'm not completely sure what happened there, but after she came back, they got to talking about very serious things again, like kids, marriage, the whole 9 yards. He then very confidently, I think too confidently, I would say, just because of what's going on right now, says that he is currently and actively still very in love with her.
You're in love with her?
Yes.
Neve's messy self then asks how long they were talking before she ghosted again.
How long were you then talking before she then ghosted you again?
Now, sir, I feel like this was a particularly wild question to ask right now, but did you really need to put so much emphasis on again?
Again.
Damn. Way to rub salt in that wound, mister. But he says that after she came back from the 2-year ghosting, they were talking for about 6 months and actually made plans for her to be in Florida with him right now before she disappeared again.
This is draining me. I'm kind of done with it already.
Ciao. She then texted him once again out of the blue. He says that he is excited for her to be back and for them to continue their relationship, which I would say lack thereof relationship because it's been years and you still have never met her. You don't even know if it's her for real. But anyways, he says he is just bracing himself for whatever is about to come next.
Part of me is like, how's this gonna go this time?
Which I don't particularly believe to be true because he said that he's in love and he's hoping for the best. If you're on Catfish, you should never be hoping for the best. We then see pictures of Russia and she looks cute. The pictures, however, are very bad quality, so that is an indication that it may in fact be a catfish, but we're not really sure at this point. She also has a very large, very noticeable leopard print or cheetah print tat like on her hip to stomach area. So I don't know if they're gonna try and use this as identifiable or if this was just a reason for Neve to look at this picture. But they say their goodbyes and then they head out. Neve and Kamie agree that it is most definitely a catfish and she in fact moves like a typical catfish as well. Our hosts then get to investigating at a cat cafe and Neve is very excited about this. However, Kamie, not so much.
I don't love cats. I don't hate cats. They have a mind of their own. I don't know what they're thinking.
She don't really be fucking with the cats like that. Even though it seems like they're trying to hang out with her. They can sense the good vibes. Before they get to things, Neve says that they've got to go dark mode if they're going to investigate Russia. Ciao. YouTube, to be clear, I'm talking about Russia the person, not Russia the country. No, we're not talking about them. Based on the information that LeAndre sent them, Russia's full government name seems to be Russia Smith, which is too generic to be true. That seems like a name you make up. Like, you know the names that are on the caller ID on the phone boxes, like when you got a house phone? Does anyone even still have house phones anymore? Anyways, besides the point. Generic. They start by going to Neve's IMVU profile, which I'm like, wow, what are you doing on there, freak-a-leak? But they go to Russia's page and we see that she has about 670, she has about 700, am I dyslexic? She has about 786 followers. That's about all the information they're able to gather from there. We then reverse image search her pictures and the first one doesn't come back with any hits, but the second one does. It's linked to her music page, so that does align with a little bit of what she told LeAndre.
Oh, look, Russia Smith. She has a music page.
They try to find her on Facebook with absolutely no luck, so they then decide to run her phone number. It is linked to someone named DeAndre. I meant to say DeAndrea. Someone named DeAndrea, but with a different last name.
Oh, no.
They run the number on a second website and it comes back once again linked to DeAndre with the same last name as the previous search. This person is 26 years old and lives in Nashville, Tennessee. It looks like there's an email attached and the handle for that email is Russia Smith. So it looks like we found our girl. We may have just cracked the Da Vinci Code in this bitch.
Russia Smith. What? gmail.com.
Kamie says that something about this feels weird, and I completely agree. But that could just be the catfish vibe. Something always feels a little bit weird here. They then try to look up her actual government name on Facebook, and they get nothing. But when they look up her phone number on Cash App, it is linked to someone whose name is Dirtbike DeAndre, which makes Neve think that this could be a guy. However, Kamie is convinced that it's not a guy, and Kamie gives Neve some pretty serious side-eye right here.
He's talked on the phone with her.
It's not impossible. Just because he talked to her on the phone doesn't mean it's not a guy.
Damn!
They then try to find DeAndre on Facebook and they find Dirtbike DeAndre right away. He also lives in Nashville. So at this point, it's like, who the hell is this? Who the heck is DeAndrea? What's going on? Who's really Russia? What's the tea? Who makes their handles on everything Dirtbike DeAndre? Unless you're like a Dirtbike influencer, like what's the deal here? What's going on?
So I am confusion.
But Neve and Kamie, and they're trying to figure out how this guy's involved, if he is involved, or if he is in fact who LeAndre has been talking to this whole time. We then head back over to LeAndre to tell him what we were able to find, but I would say at this point they are arriving with more questions than answers. LeAndre then tells us that Russia has never sent him any of her music, which is kind of weird if you're like a proud musician. I don't know.
Has she ever sent you her music?
No.
But at the same time, I do get it because I don't know if I would just like send someone a YouTube video right away. Editing Jada here, and not sending someone a YouTube video right away and not sending someone your music who you have been talking with off and on and in a relationship with off and on for 4 years, completely different things. Completely different things. But LeAndre also says that he has never heard of the name DeAndrea. All these names are too similar, child. It's about to get confusing. But when he is shown DeAndre's page, that he has never seen or heard of him before. Dirtbike DeAndre, doesn't know who that is. He also says that Russia has a woman's voice when they've spoken on the phone, but LeAndre is also very aware that people can easily switch up their voices.
They definitely have a female voice, but I do know like people can sound, you know.
Even though he's pretty sure it's a woman, he's not like completely cemented on that idea. And this situation is honestly making me feel bad for him at this point because he seems like a very genuine guy who just wants and deserves love. That's what it's giving right now, but never put too much trust in a man, okay? So Neve sends Russia a message just asking her to get in contact with them and meet up. She reads it and she actually responds right away, or at least that's how it looks because of editing. Russia says, and I quote, "I know that he's not going to be happy when we meet. I'll do it if that's what he wants, but just not here, please."
What did he say?
What does that mean? I feel like there's so much to unpack in this one message alone, but I still have 6 pages of notes, so I'm not gonna do that. Neve does what he can to make the meeting happen by soothing Russia's concerns and promises to take care of everything. Just like tries to smooth everything over, like, girl, come here. Like when people dangle those things in front of the face. You want to come and meet me. You want to come and meet me. This girl then claps all the way back to Neve, trying to soothe her concerns by saying, "Isn't it your job to find out these things?
Isn't it your job to find out these things?"
Excuse the out of me? Huh?
Girl, don't play.
Neve then clocks her shit, okay? And he says, "Yes, DeAndrea, it is." Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Yes, DeAndrea. It is.
He might have just got you there. One thing about Neve, he's gonna out-sass you every single time. Don't play with him in that regard. DeAndrea, or Russia, we're just gonna keep calling her Russia because we don't even know if she's DeAndrea at this point, but she says LOL and that she'll book her own flight.
That's weird.
Very weird. But Kamie says what we are all thinking. It's the attitude for me.
You know what? It's the attitude for me.
It's crazy to me that people do wrong, end up getting exposed for their wrongdoing on the show, and then have an attitude. How are you wrong? You have an attitude.
What's not clicking?
But before they head out, LeAndre promises to keep them posted on anything he may hear from Russia or DeAndrea or whoever the hell this even is. In the car, Neve and Kamie just talk about her absolutely insane attitude and how she outed herself as being a liar based on the messages she sent about LeAndre not being happy once they finally do meet. Like, why would he not be happy?
Quickly.
The next morning, Neve has not heard from Russia, so they call LeAndre to see if he has in fact heard from Russia. We then find out that she messaged him last night and said that we looked up flights.
She said, we, I don't know who we is, but she said we looked up flights.
Who the hell is we?
Oh, Lord.
Now, when I say we over here, because I'm talking about me and you, we, I'm talking about us. When she says we, who the hell are you talking about? Is this about to be another, like, 4-person involved in one catfish situation? What's tea? What's going on? Russia then said that her flight lands at 11:48 and she asked where LeAndre is staying.
What?
What?
What does it mean?
Where are you staying?
Honestly, I have no idea where or how this reveal is about to go, and it's stressing me out just a little teensy tiny bit. Just a little teensy tiny bit. That's how much it's stressing me out. Just a little bit. Just nothing crazy. Just a little bit. Because Catfish is usually pretty predictable. It follows a very specific formula, but that's not happening right now. I don't know what's going on today. But LeAndre...
You stupid.
He then says that he gave her, and whoever the hell she's coming with, the address of where he's staying. The address of where he's staying with his mother, with his sister, and his young son.
I'm about to have one of those moments.
Give her the address to where we were staying at, you know, me and my family.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
You got some splaining to do.
That is probably the most idiotic and the most unsafe thing you could have done in this situation, because you have no idea who she even is. You don't know if it's even a she, and who the hell she brought with her, because she's over here talking about we. Why would you do that?
Bombastic side eye.
Is this not like basic safety things we were taught? You don't give randoms your address. What the hell? But LeAndre then says, this is why it's hard for me to feel bad for a man, because why are you this stupid? But he says that after thinking about it some more, he's more comfortable that they meet in public, and he found a park for them to meet at.
I think I'm more comfortable like in a public setting.
Who cares if you're more comfortable meeting in public? You already gave this bird your address. She could just pop up on you. But they hop off the call with plans to meet him and Russia at the park soon. Kamie goes off once the call ends, and rightfully so, in my humble opinion.
Somebody texts you, we looked up flights, and your immediate reaction is to send them your address?
It's a very sketchy enough situation as it is, but more so because his child and his family are staying at the address that he just handed over to a complete stranger, and the stranger with the complete stranger. They pull up at the park and walk over to LeAndre. He has not heard from Russia to say that she's on her way or that she even landed, so he texts her again to say where they're waiting for her, even though Neve actually messaged her the address before Neve and Kamie left the hotel. So Russia messages LeAndre back immediately to say that she can't find the park and she's gonna instead Uber to the house.
Can't find that place, Ubering the house.
This would be my worst nightmare. It would. So the crew rushes back to the house because they want to make sure that they are there when she pulls up so that she has no excuse to leave and disappear once again. However, the fact that they're like, oh, we can't find the park.
That's suspicious.
In my mind, production takes care of most of these things. So I don't know, this seemed like a little bit of a fake inserted element to try and add a little bit more angst, a little bit more to the situation, which it didn't really need it because we're already on the edge of our seat because we don't know what the hell is going on. But Kamie then says something that I once again agree with. She says that if the catfishing involves more than one person, it usually takes a very diabolical route, a very diabolical turn. So I don't know what's about to happen. And I know everything. So that's saying a lot. She also tells LeAndre that next time he does not need to be giving anyone his damn address.
Next time, just don't give them your home address.
Say it louder for the dum-dums in the back, Kamie. She also tells Neve to hurry the hell up because she wants to know what's going on just like us. We love our messy queen. But they arrive back at the house and Russia is not there yet. Neve then decides to back into the garage to make it not so obvious that they're there waiting for her, which I'm like, you have camera crews standing outside, so like it's going to be obvious either way. But anyways, just as Neve is saying how strange it is that she isn't there yet, and she should have actually beaten them there if she was already heading there before they were heading there, a car pulls up and someone gets out. Neve, Kamie, and LeAndre, they rush out of the car as soon as the door to the Uber opens, and we see a gorgeous young woman get out the car. What's going on here?
Hi, hello.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
This is so incredibly shocking because it is in fact her. It's the girl from the pictures. What?
You got some splaining to do.
Again, I said Catfish follows a typical pattern of predictability. This one, there was no predictability. It's just what the hell is going on? And maybe that's what happens when the IMVU gets involved and the Catfishiverse. The Catfishiverse? I like it. The Catfishiverse. She requests to be called Russia, so that's what I'm going to call her.
What should we call you?
Russia.
Russia.
Yeah.
Very simple to respect someone's names, their pronouns, what they ask you to call them. Very demure, very easy, very simple. Neve immediately asks her, who is this we you were speaking of? Who's the other person here? And she says that she brought her manager with her.
Oh, I have my manager with me.
Now, sweetheart, why would you do this unless this is in fact some sort of clout grab situation that you felt you needed your manager to be here with you? And based on the way she's dressed, the Chanel earrings and the necklace set, the stripper heels in the middle of the afternoon, I'm inclined to believe at this moment that she may in fact be here for all of the wrong reasons.
Well, you were thinking it.
Yeah.
You said it.
It's just not giving someone who came to meet the love of their life. It's giving someone who knew that they were about to be on TV, so they got excited and put on their best Saturday night fit. That's what it's giving. Kamie is shocked that it's her, and honestly, so am I, and so is LeAndre. But Russia hugs LeAndre and he questions why it had to happen like this. And she kind of beats around the bush. She dances around the answer. She doesn't really answer the question, but she says that she's very busy. So she actually is about to fly out to Miami to do a video shoot.
This is obviously not what I wanted. And I have another flight later because I have to go do a video shoot, so.
Who asked you that? Again, clout grab. That's what it's giving. I don't know if that's what it is. That's what it's giving right now. Clout grab. But she then clarifies that her name is DeAndrea, but with an accent, and I don't really know where that accent is from, but she now goes by Russia.
DeAndrea. That's how it's pronounced.
Neve then says that he is in fact really confused, as we are all really confused right now. He basically asks her what the hell is going on. And Russia says that when she ghosted LeAndre the first time, she did in fact have a bunch of deaths that went on in her family, which sent her into a very deep depression and made her just kind of reevaluate everything. She took a step back from everything, particularly her relationship.
When I ghosted him, I went through deaths in my family and it put me in depression mode.
Now, I do believe this to be true. I definitely understand how grief can send you into a deep depression and make you disconnect from everything before you realize that you need to reconnect with yourself, reconnect with those that you love, and try your best to get back into the swing of things. Kamie apologizes for her losses, and as Kamie is saying this, LeAndre's mama comes outside, and she has nothing to add. She just comes outside and stands there.
I'm sorry to hear about the deaths in your family.
And it seems like she is just here to obviously support her son, but get the tea for her damn self. And me, if I were a mama, I would be messy just like that. You already know. You know the vibes. Kamie then says that Russia is moving very suspicious and questions her about the Cash App account and about dirt bike DeAndre. She says that DeAndre is her cousin, but she had no idea about the Cash App. Watch the cousin end up being the manager.
Your grandmama's the baby.
But no, so we just move on from that, I guess. There's no real questions to have if she's like, I didn't know about that. Okay. But Russia asserts that everything she said was true and she felt like she was in a relationship with LeAndre, but she doesn't currently feel like that.
Did you feel like you were in a relationship
Yeah,
with
most
LeAndre?
definitely. Most
Do you
definitely.
currently feel like you're in a relationship with
No.
him?
Okay, girl, first of all, what the
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
If you don't feel like you are in a relationship with him, why the hell do you keep circling the block? Make it make sense. Second of all, I am getting really confused with all these similar names. I need like a maths type picture board to really keep everything straight in my mind with like little lines connecting the dots. It's getting a lot. DeAndrea, LeAndre, DeAndre, Russia, it's too much. Anyways. Russia says that the last time she felt like they were in a relationship was a couple of months ago after they had a conversation about her desire to be a Titans cheerleader.
Before the conversation about me wanting to be a Titans cheerleader.
Wait. Hold up.
Make it make sense.
What the hell? I really thought, and maybe I'm foolish for thinking this, but I really thought that this was going to be one of the only times I ever completely and wholeheartedly sided with a man, okay? But I have a feeling that things are about to take a somewhat controlling and misogynistic turn for the worse. That's what I'm predicting.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
She says that LeAndre did not want her to be a cheerleader, which has Neve confused and has Kamie and I side-eyeing Mr. LeAndre. Because what's the issue?
You don't want her to be a cheerleader?
Also, you're a man in your 30s dating a girl who is in her early to mid-20s. So how are you mad that she's like, yeah, I want to be a cheerleader?
How are you mad that she wants to pursue her dreams?
Weird. But Neve then jumps in and he says that he could understand him being opposed to Russia being a stripper, but what's the issue with a cheerleader?
If she said she was going to be a stripper, I could see
totally
you maybe
different.
not being down with that.
Lord have mercy.
There's a lot to unpack here, but there's a lot still, so we're just going to skip past this part, but know that Neve gets for that comment too. Kamie then jumps in and says, unless you think that they're the same thing, because they're not, which period, but also there's a lot I want to say, but we move. LeAndre then says that Russia being a cheerleader did not align with their plans.
I just didn't feel like that aligned with like what we both talked about.
Notice he's trying to say their plans, not her plans. If she says she wants to be a cheerleader, how are you going to say that doesn't align with our plans? It sounds like it aligns with her plans. But he says that he did not want to be with someone who's a cheerleader. Okay.
I just didn't want to be with somebody that was
Right. That's
cheerleader.
That's
Now we're gonna break this down. The other stuff, I was like, we're about to break this down, okay? Let me be clear. Crystal, in fact, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to date a cheerleader. That is your right. You don't have to date anybody you don't want to date. Or with someone who is aspiring to be a cheerleader. If that's not what you want, that's your prerogative. You don't have to want that. But if you don't want that, just don't date one.
Are y'all stupid?
However, if someone you are dating, someone you claim to love, you want to marry, you're in a deep, emotional, committed relationship with, if they express a dream, a desire of theirs that doesn't hurt anybody, they're not saying, yeah, I want to be the world's most renowned serial killer. Like, they're not saying that. They want to be a cheerleader. I feel like if that's the person you really love, it's your job to support them in their endeavors. That's how I feel. If you are not okay with their shift in career, then that is your right. You simply leave them alone and you leave the relationship. You do not get to control or dictate what a person does or doesn't do. Each person has free will, even if they're in a relationship with you, especially if they're in a relationship with you. They are not your child. You do not get to exert complete control over them and their decisions. You don't get to do that. They're supposed to be an equal and equitable partner in this relationship, especially considering that he has not met this person and he is already trying to dictate and control what she does.
Stop being a bitch. Like,
the same way he's like, oh, I didn't want to be with a cheerleader. She could have easily said, I don't want to be with an Uber driver. But I guarantee if she said that to him, it would be a problem. But he has no problem saying this to her about her aspiration to be a cheerleader. Very weird. But LeAndre then also mentions that her being a cheerleader doesn't align with their plans of starting a family.
You know, starting maybe a possible family, maybe.
This also needs to be unpacked, okay? Let's do it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
He says their plans of starting a family. I think he has plans to want to expand the family. She also has those plans, but because of their ages, and I'm not saying this is like a very significant age gap, but I do think that they're just in different places in life. She's now 26. When they first started talking, she was 22. He is now 32. When they first started talking, he was 28. These are two very distinctly different points in your life, depending on what your goals are. I can't see someone who is 22 having the exact same goals and ambitions as someone who is 28 in terms of wanting to settle down and start a family, especially if she's telling you she has dreams of being a cheerleader. But this notion of his saying that her being a cheerleader doesn't align with their plans to start a family, we're going to unpack this further. We're going to dig into that a little bit more. Who says that a woman in any career can't also be a good mother and a good wife and a good partner? Who said that? It sounds like thinly veiled misogyny, and I don't like that. So I feel like out of fear, out of looking like the complete jack that he actually is, LeAndre is refusing to say the quiet parts out loud, so I'm gonna say it out loud. It's clear he believes that Russia's value as a woman, Russia's value to him in their relationship would go down if she in fact became a cheerleader. He would have less respect and less love for Russia if she became a cheerleader. He does not see the mother of his children being a cheerleader. He does not want all of her free time spent on trying to achieve a personal career goal instead of trying to work on the goals that he believes are more important because they're his goals, they're his priorities.
Clock it.
Clock it. Neve and Kamie are both giving confused and big flabbergasted by LeAndre's line of thinking, and I think at this point we all are, because how and why would you want her to put her dreams on hold for you?
Quickly.
But you're not willing to do the same thing. This is giving ballerina farm and I don't like it. LeAndre then just spits it out after Neve and Kamie do not keep their foot off of his neck, and he says that her doing that would take away from their relationship. Neve says what? Her having a job?
I felt like that would take away from like our relationship, like
her having a job?
Ooh. Looks like someone else is about to say the quiet parts out loud, baby. Clock the misogyny, please. Kamie then says, or is it about the attention? And LeAndre says that it is a lot of male attention and she's an attractive girl. Oh, wow. So it's almost like we're discovering that the root of his misogyny is actually insecurities within himself. What a crazy, wild concept.
The attention of it?
It is a lot of male attention, like, because she's not, you know, not attractive.
Insecure men should not date baddies. Do not date baddies.
I said what I said.
Do not date baddies who are trying to be out there and live their best life. And maybe they want to shake a little ass in the process. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't want that, don't date those women. there's this saying that I never get over. It's about the free bird and how a man will love to see a free, beautiful bird and will insist on putting her in a cage so that he is the only one who can admire her beauty. And that's what's going on here, and I don't like it. I'm not saying Russia's great. I'm not even saying she's really a good person. However, LeAndre is exposing himself. Meanwhile, whole time he tried to paint himself as the nice guy. He's not the nice guy he's trying to make himself out to be. But at the end of the day has to end. And how dare you try to limit this woman from going after her own dreams because of your insecurities?
I'm about to beat this bitch up.
You would rather her be at home, be a miserable housewife, because at least she's there for you. No.
I'm done. Cut the show.
But Kamie then brings up a very good point and is like, but Russia's already a music artist, and that gets arguably more attention than a cheerleader, so what's good?
Miley, what's good?
Russia then speaks up after seeing that everyone kind of has her back in this particular part of this situation. And she says that she didn't like the response that LeAndre gave her when she expressed her dreams and her desire of trying to push to become a cheerleader, so she moved accordingly.
I didn't like the response. I acted accordingly.
Neva's like, but then you popped back up. Which, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. If you were moving accordingly, you would have had the conversation with him, dusted your hands, cleaned your hand of the situation, and then you wouldn't have popped back up like you had been doing throughout the 4 years that y'all have been talking. Russia then says that when she popped back up the most recent time, it was simply to check on him as a friend and see how he was doing. It wasn't to lead him on.
Well, I reached out as a friend, not to, be romantic or lead him on, mislead him or anything like that.
Sure, Jan.
I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that one. I don't think that's true. I do think she was checking on him in a flirty, romantic type of way. I do think she liked the attention that he provided. She just didn't want to be in a relationship with him anymore because of what he had previously said about all that mess about her being a cheerleader. But I feel like I don't like these catfish situations where both people suck. And not in the good way. She did, in fact, lead him on. She did do that. She strung him along. And that sucks. She sucks for that. But he also sucks from trying to deter the supposed love of his life from pursuing her dreams. This situation is getting me a little bit hot because I think about putting myself in her shoes, right? I'm a YouTuber. I'm a content creator. A lot of people don't like that, or they do not want to date people who do that, which is fine. That's your right. I'm not going to force anyone to be with me. But imagine I was dating someone who tried to talk me out of doing YouTube before I even started. Ew! Imagine where I'd be. Imagine the ripple effect that would have on anyone who has been positively impacted by my content or what I've had to say here. Going after my dreams has changed my life, and it will continue to change my life in so many ways that I could have never imagined. If you have a dream and it doesn't hurt anybody, it's likely been placed on your heart for a reason. It's there for a reason. So I can't fathom, I cannot comprehend a man who claims to truly love me, or anybody who claims to truly love me, actively and genuinely dissuading me from pursuing my dreams and talking down on my dreams, making it seem like I am less than for having that particular dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Russia, however, I hate when I have to stand up for a man, stick up for a man, but Russia had not been completely honest and transparent with LeAndre when her feelings did in fact change, so that's the problem in that situation. This is the first serious relationship since the death of the mother of his child. Even though he has some very questionable beliefs, some questionable values, he still deserved transparency and honesty, in my opinion. Especially since his family and his very young son were also invested in this relationship with her. But LeAndre then walks away, says that he needs a minute after finding out that she does not have romantic feelings for him.
I need a minute.
His mother follows him and consoles him, and the way in which she is consoling him is interesting, to say the least. In my opinion,
be nice.
He should have been held accountable by everyone involved for the comments and his line of thinking in this situation, so that he can either correct it or at the bare minimum know that what he did was wrong and not feel like he has something to defend. Instead, his mom is trying to make him feel like he did nothing wrong by saying that he saw the red flags and he should have just left her alone.
When you get those red flags, just leave it alone.
What red flags are you referring to, ma'am?
Quickly.
Because I think most of the red flags were within your son that you raised. But LeAndre then says that he is just trying to hold back his anger.
Trying to hold back my anger.
Sir, what? You're scaring me. So Neve, Kamie, and Russia are talking while LeAndre is staring at the wall in anger.
This guy stinks!
I'm sorry. But Neve says quite literally what we are all thinking, that at the core, their basic fundamental values, Russia and LeAndre do not seem like a match at all. I don't know why they ever thought that they would be a good match. Russia then agrees that it didn't work, it isn't going to work, but there is still love there as a friend.
Just don't seem like a match to me.
We tried. Didn't work. It's not gonna work.
She then reveals that LeAndre's exact words about the cheerleading thing was, "I don't want to be with you if you are going to be a cheerleader," so she moved accordingly. Both Neve and Kamie seem to understand, and they are on her side about this situation, this specific aspect of the situation, and I am too. This is the thing. I think people misunderstand what a boundary truly is. A boundary is not to control the actions of the other person. It's letting the other person know what will happen if they cross that specific boundary.
Write that down, write that down!
So if I am in a relationship and I say, yeah, I don't tolerate cheating, and that person cheats on me, I can't then berate them and belittle them and demean them while staying in a relationship with them when I said I don't tolerate cheating. That means that I have communicated to you previously what I stand on, what I will accept. I told you I don't accept this, so I am now removing myself from the situation. I'm not gonna try and control you and what you do. I can only control me. And that's what I think LeAndre doesn't understand.
What's not clicking? What's not clicking?
He thought that him saying, I wouldn't date you, I don't want to be with you if you're a cheerleader, meant that she's not going to want to be a cheerleader. No, that's not how that works. Russia then admits that she didn't straight up end the relationship because in her mind, LeAndre had already ended it with that comment.
Did you tell him, like, okay, well then this is it?
I just knew what I had to do for myself.
Which I can understand. However, I do still think she should have facilitated that conversation and been honest with what tea is. You know what I mean? I don't think she should have been like, well, he ended the relationship and then you still talk to him in a romantic, a flirty type of way. LeAndre's mama then comes back over and she says that LeAndre did really care for Russia and hopes that they can just have an honest conversation. They share a hug and then messy mama heads back inside. Back in the garage, LeAndre is just staring at an empty wall in anger, and that's honestly really scary. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is quite scary behavior. But we then head inside to wrap everything up and finally, goodness gracious, finally, Neve then clarifies that the cheerleader comment was made about 6 months ago, and LeAndre pipes up and says that he just thought that she could do better.
I just thought she could do better.
Disgusting. Stop talking. Stop talking. You're making things worse. That statement of his was also very belittling, but the way in which he said it, I know he thought he was saying something good and positive to her. He really thought he was making the situation better, when in reality, all you're doing, once again, is talking shit about her dreams.
You stupid.
I can't imagine if I was like, yeah, I want to be a YouTuber. You could do better than that. What is that supposed to mean?
Trash.
Neve then says that because there was no direct communication about the end of their relationship, LeAndre was unclear that things had even really ended, which is a fair statement to make, but we're not addressing why he assumed that the relationship wouldn't be over, again, because of his horrible mindset that what he wants and what he says could control her actions. Russia then apologizes, which doesn't seem genuine, seems quite dismissive to me, but we move, okay?
We both just stopped communicating. What's the problem? I apologize if I caused you any pain or harm.
LeAndre doesn't apologize when I think he should have apologized, but he just says that he got the closure and the clarity that he needed. Russia makes it clear that she still wants to be friends, but LeAndre doesn't really want that at this point in time. That's where the conversation ends. They all share hugs, they say their goodbyes, and our girl Kamie encourages Russia to try out for cheerleading and to pursue her dreams, which, period queen?
I hope you do try out for the cheerleading squad.
Thanks.
LeAndre says that he got what he needed and the crew heads out. In our 2-month follow-up, Neve is there by himself, which is interesting. It makes me question if these were filmed after Kamie had quit or if there was something going on to where Kamie no longer wanted to film. But anyways, LeAndre says that he has been good, he has been peaceful, he's thriving, and in a much better headspace than he previously was. He says that he and Russia have not spoken since filming, which is for the best, I think, for him and for Russia. He says that he does miss their relationship, but he's learned some lessons through it all. He doesn't exactly say what those lessons are, so I don't think he's actually learned anything. I think in his mind, he's just like, yeah, I need to pick better. No, what you need to do is not suck. That's what you need to do. But we then speak to Russia and she confirms that they have not spoken. She says that she's cool with it because everyone is entitled to their opinion. And she says that she is more focused on music than cheerleading, and that's where the episode ends. A mess, y'all, a mess.
I'm gonna tell you exactly why she left you.
Yeah.
You're tapped or you're deranged.
I feel like I yapped and yapped and yapped and yapped and yapped and yapped and yapped so much this episode. My throat is kind of sore. My voice is kind of tired.
Hey, yo!
Throat's kind of sore, sounds a little bit sus, but I've just been talking a lot. I think that both people suck in this situation for different reasons. I think LeAndre thought that he could control Russia, which I don't particularly like. I think Russia was not upfront in what she was feeling and when she was feeling it. However, I also understand why she's like, well, he said he didn't want to date me if I was going to pursue cheerleading, so I thought that was the end of the relationship. Which I feel like that's a logical conclusion to draw, but LeAndre didn't think that because he thought, well, I could control her and I could stop her from pursuing her dreams and make her a stay-at-home wife. I could put that beautiful bird in a cage for only me to see. Do not ever let a man, a woman, a non-binary person, don't ever let your partner dim your light. If they're trying to dim your light, run as fast as you can. I truly believe that each person was here with some sort of destiny, some sort of thing that they're supposed to fulfill, something they're supposed to do. It might not seem major to you, it might not seem huge, but it matters nonetheless because everything you do has a ripple effect. While I'm not saying her being a cheerleader was going to be revolutionary and change the world, it could have just been for herself to achieve something she'd wanted to do since she was younger, achieve this goal and feel good about herself when her life does later settle down, if it does settle down, and she can sit back and reflect and think, yeah, I did everything I wanted to do and I didn't let anybody stop me. Go after what you want to go after if you're not going to hurt anybody, and don't let anybody try to dissuade you from that because they're trying to make you a stay-at-home mom, be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Anyways, y'all, if you made it to this point in the video, comment a megaphone emoji down in the comments because that's what the cheerleaders be using, y'all. And we're very supportive of women going after their dreams and not letting a man get in their way. But I thank you so much for watching. I thank you so much for being here. I had a lot to say about this episode and I can't wait to hear what you say and what you think down in the comments below. But before you go to get to chatting with besties in the comments, because that's honestly one of the best parts of the videos coming out, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you're aware of every single time that I upload. Like I said, this episode was a bestie recommendation. If there's another episode you'd like to see me cover, you can drop it down in the comments below or you can send me a DM over on Instagram. I do take bestie requests for episodes. A lot of y'all were asking me to cover the new season of Love is Blind. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Get somebody else to do it.
I tried watching that season. I got through the first 15, maybe 20 minutes of the first episode. I turned that shit off. I said, I can't do this. I'm watching this season through watching Kenny JD, our girl, watch it. I can't get through it. So I probably won't review it. I'm not going to lie to you. I thank you so very much for being here and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye, besties.